Thanks for listening to the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast, where each week we talk about a free piece or two of technology that you can use in your classroom. I'm your host, Shannon Martin. I'm a middle school teacher, technology coach, and personalized learning coordinator for my district.
And I'm her husband.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's clever.
Yep.
I'm surprised that it's taken this long for you to come up with that.
Wrap it all together.
Clever.
Yeah, thanks.
Wow.
I'm Fuzz. I'm her husband.
Right.
I'm also the producer. How you doing?
You're my husband.
Aw.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in episode 35.
Yeah.
We had our little fall break.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little busy, a little chaotic. You know, the usual.
The huge.
Parent-teacher conferences are done.
Yeah.
We're in fall. No, I get to go to parent-teacher conferences, so mine are done. But now I get to attend our child's.
Our child's.
On the other side of the table.
Yeah. Exciting.
And
Find out about those bus rides.
She's 4.
She's 4.
We'll see how it goes.
She'll be fine. If I made it, she can make it.
And yeah, we're episode 35. We are focusing on social studies. Mm-hmm. So I know I've covered a lot of other topics, and there's like a lot of in between. Actually, as I was digging around for the sites this week, I didn't have to dig far because I teach social studies on a regular basis.
Good call.
But then I had a bunch of other ideas, like, oh, I want to talk about this, and this too. So then I had to like harness my favorites for this week. Like, I have so many ideas because I use so many different sites for social studies, but honestly, when we talk about sites like Padlet or Canva or Genially, the sites that kind of can cover any subject, I use those regularly in social studies class. So I don't always use social studies specific sites.
Right.
So it's kind of like I use a little bit of everything. Yeah. So we're social studiesing today.
Social studiesing.
And when I talk social studies, I teach like broad field social studies. So I cover everything.
Mm-hmm.
So along with that, my sites actually cover everything too.
Cool.
So we got that.
Right now you're doing your build a candidate.
Designer president.
Designer president.
Designer presidents. Yeah. So yeah, this week we're doing designer presidents, and my students are in their groups picking leadership qualities and like topics of
demographics and stuff,
policy and interests, and they create a candidate that they would like to be their ideal president, and then have them be successful. And then we do a mock election in each classroom, and then my classes, like the candidate that wins from each class, they then run against each other. So then I have
it's like a primary, and then
primary, yeah, and then the actual election. So then I have 4 candidates that they all vote for, and they're allowed to campaign within reason. And then we see who the person that they choose to be their ideal leader, and then that person that they have created, and they like draw a campaign poster and everything. Gets a special spot on the wall in my classroom, and I make a special bulletin board, and they get the privilege of having like their person on the wall for the rest of the school year.
That's awesome.
So we learn all about
That's fun.
Yeah, government and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Do you have any super PACs?
No. No, we don't.
I'm going to go inject a lot of money into one campaign.
We're supposed to use candy and stickers, but
good call.
Yeah. It's always fun. Today it was really cute because they're like, this is so much fun. And they were really, because they have to lay out like the candidate, not only not just like political stuff, but they have to lay out their background and where they came from, and if they're married or not married, and their spouse, and if they have a spouse or children, and they come up with backstories to these like people. It's amazing. Anyway, but then they have like, I had one where they had like a traumatic accident in their life, and then like their candidate did, and then that was part of their backstory for why they wanted like a certain type like healthcare for certain people. It was just it was fun to see. Anyway,
cool.
I always like doing the project. Anyway, so now that we've gone off on a tangent on that, let's start with the site I actually will be using next week with my students, which is iCivics.
Yeah.
So I've talked to you about pieces of this website before, and
you have.
And you may not even, I don't know, you remember what I talk about. because I talk about my classroom a lot. But iCivics, if you've never explored it, or if you have explored it before, they have done some changes where you just go to iCivics.org. iCivics.org. And you can sign in, create your account. You don't have to have an account, though, which is kind of nice. You can kind of dig into their stuff without having an account. If you are a teacher and you choose to create an account, they also now sync with Google Classroom. So that is new. They did not do that before. So that's been an update this year. And it is so cool. It teaches about all things social studies. So if you get to their regular website, you don't even have to sign in. You can just click teach, and then you have access to their units. So they have units on foundations of government, the road to the Constitution, like civil rights, judicial branch, executive branch, citizenship, media and influence, like relevant topics in social studies. And there's a ton of them. Even like to persuasive writing, which like if you're writing argument papers, and news literacy, and just all these cool things. So you pick a unit, you click on the topic, and you can use this as like a full unit, or you can just supplement what you already teach with.
Sure.
They have a ton of resources for you, which is amazing. You then can choose if you want the middle school version or the high school version.
Okay.
And then from there, you can log in to download files. But if you don't want to log in yet, you can just click view, and it will show you like what the learning objectives are, what the lesson plan is. And it just gives you all of these resources, which is what I love. Like, I don't use this word for word, but I use it as a supplement to like back up the information we're already talking about or the projects we're already exploring in class. Mm-hmm. Also, my other actually probably more favorite part about this website is the games that they have.
I have one about running the county right now. That's up in the background.
It's not like, and we don't do a ton of games. I do a lot of like problem based and project based and inquiry and all that kind of stuff in my classroom. But oh my goodness, my kids have learned so much from the game Win the White House. It is the last one at the bottom. Scroll through. It says like 30 minutes downtime. You run your own presidential campaign, debates, ads, fundraising, what states to go for, what your slogan is, which person is like. And I've had so many kids put this on their phones, and they're like, Mrs. Martin, I was playing Win the White House until midnight last night, and I almost won, and then I lost, and then I start over. I can't tell you how many kids have actually like then connected what I'm talking about in class to their game.
Sure.
And then actually have the knowledge, like remember the knowledge.
Yeah.
And have real discussions in class. It is so much fun. So I use Win the White House, especially during this unit that I'm teaching right now, which is branches of government, and we do like a focus on presidency a little bit just for fun. So Win the White House is fantastic. I mean, these games, they're really well planned out, especially for social studies teachers.
It kind of feels like a sim game almost.
Yeah, it does. That one specifically, and they're all a little bit different. Mm-hmm. The design always kind of feels the same, but they run differently. The other one in January, I teach a whole immigration unit, and so we play Immigration Nation, where you like, that teaches you how to like become a citizen, and you travel over and you get stuck like in the middle of the ocean, like you have to figure out which way you're going, and you have to like do certain policies, get certain, anyway, it's cool.
That's cool.
So they're on like these little boats floating around. And then I do, when I teach my war units, we do Crisis of Nations, which is like solving international crisis. So you have to decide like if you're going to negotiate with them, if you're going to like give them supplies, or if you're going to go to war with them. And so Crisis of Nations is also fantastic. So I feel like my students do not just play games in my class, but the games that I pick and choose.
They also watch movies.
Oh my gosh, we do so many things in my class. These are just great to supplement what you're already doing.
Yeah.
And those kids that need a little boost or buy-in, or for fun, I'll have kids like we'll play in teams, then we'll compete, and then we'll have discussions about like what you learned from like the situation that you were in. So if you've not tried out iCivics.org
this looks really cool.
/games, like the games you can just play, but also like if you click teach, you are able to have so many resources at your fingertips, which is just really nice. And it's well laid out and it's easy to get through.
Yeah, it's a cool site. So, and it looks like a lot of fun. And you can also learn a lot. So
yeah, it's kind of like...
Those are 3 great... And it's free.
It is free, which is awesome.
4 great things.
Yeah.
How do they even make it happen? I can tell you. Because
you click on the little donate button.
And it's in partnership with a bunch of different associations where they're trying to groom our next generation of politicians. Yeah. Or county workers or
just citizens.
Good humans.
Or good citizens, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you
iCivics.org.
Yeah, and if you get a chance, and you could just sit down, like you and I like compete in GeoGuessr sometime. Yeah. Also, GeoGuessr, plug, social studies site, fantastic. You could definitely sit down and just as a teacher and adult, like just play these games because they are very engaging. So
cool.
iCivics. That is one of my first favorites, and yeah, I love using that one. Second, super useful site is the Library of Congress.
Yeah. loc.gov, LOC.gov.
Which is funny, yeah, it's loc.gov. I know there's a ton of sites. We even talked a couple weeks ago, last week, we talked about like Newsella and ReadWorks. Like those are great article sites for social studies. I think the Library of Congress is super cool because, well, it's the Library of Congress and you can explain that. But when teaching social studies, a lot of the times you're looking for primary sources.
Right.
And I feel like everything's based on, can you analyze a primary source? Is this a primary source? Compare these 3 primary sources of what happened during that time. Write an argument paper based on it. And so here you go. Like you want primary sources. Here is a library of primary sources for you.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice where you can they have trending. So you can find like top searches. You can find today in history, which is cool. Then you have like research centers. So if you scroll down a little bit, there's a like right in the center, it says like research centers. You can click on that, and then you have options of like actually like searching through like newspaper periodicals or general collections or and different ways of searching, which is kind of cool. It's also there's a lot on this website to teach students how to search efficiently.
Oh, sure.
I feel like that's a skill in itself of how to actually do real research. So that's kind of nice, but there's just so much information. There's even a button where you can click and you can ask a librarian and be like, hey, I need some help. Digital collections versus library catalogs. But if there's any newspaper out there, you can find the actual print newspapers, click on it. Kids can see what an actual newspaper looks like, if you remember from back in the day, like when newspapers existed. So it's just a very cool resource for primary sources and supporting students with research or giving them primary sources when you're teaching a unit. Like, hey, this stuff really exists and this is what was found or written at the time.
Right.
Like I had kids doing the Peshtigo fire and they were researching that. You can find actual newspaper articles. So it's just very cool for a searching tool and for primary sources.
For sure. The Library of Congress itself is like just fascinating the way that they have millions of books. It's the largest library in the world. And it's really cool.
Did you visit the Library of Congress when you guys were there? Or
no, we went to the National Archives. That was as close to the Library of Congress.
Which is not even close, but close but not close at all.
Yeah.
Cool. But yeah, so if you're looking for primary sources or great articles or great research tools for your students, definitely loc.gov.
Yeah.
Use it. Super helpful. And just a wealth of knowledge, which is awesome.
Yes. That's cool. The best kind of knowledge.
It is
a wealth of knowledge.
Knowledge. Snoring dog is really snoring.
Yeah. Snoring dog is...
She's the loud...
a CPAP machine.
Definitely inspired.
A CPAP?
Oh, wow. Wow.
There we go. I'm pretty good at this.
Yeah. So this social studies lesson is really inspiring her.
Yeah.
So I have to mention quick, we've talked about it before on the podcast, but
On the pod.
the most schnazzy website, because it's schnazzy,
Yeah.
is Google Tour Builder.
Tour Builder.
We've talked about it before, but I just have to mention that it is one of my favorite sites to do anything with. No, to do
anything. She does.
You can support.
Right, grocery lists.
You could Google tour the. We're gonna tour the grocery store.
Yes.
The site I've talked about. Not even has a Piggly Wiggly, so maybe they need a tour of a Piggly Wiggly.
Right.
It's such a Midwestern thing.
I totally agree.
So, Google Tour Builder, I've talked about it before.
Yep.
So I'm not gonna spend too much time on it, but it is like Google Slideshow and Google Earth.
Yep.
On
and
steroids.
And Google Maps.
And steroids. Like, it's all combined together. And we've talked about it before, so it's just amazing. If you've not tried it, go try it. It's where you can use Google Maps, drop your pins in, and then drop your pictures in and type in your information and run it all into a slideshow together. So not only is it great in social days where the kids are, geography, exploring the world, doing a tour, mapping a vacation.
Yeah.
We've had kids do college tours. Like, there's so many ways that you can use the site in any subject area. Like science, great. You want to explore like where certain volcanoes are located in the world. Like, go do it. If you could basically apply this to any subject area and explore it and connect it and have kids put research and pictures in, and it's super cool. So Google Tour Builder, just a little plug there. Love it. Super snazzy.
GTB.
But
I get nothing.
I've spent a lot of time on it before, so if you haven't tried it, try it. All right. What I do want to talk about, though, is a different mapping tool.
Yes.
It is not a Google mapping tool.
Okay.
Which is kind of out of my realm. Oh my gosh, the dog. I'm just laughing. She's
I know.
snoring.
She's distracting.
It's called MapHub.
MapHub. Okay.
Like capital Map Hub all together.
Sure.
It's maphub.net.
Okay.
Okay.
What is it?
It's in a beta mode.
It's not in my show notes for today, so.
No. It's in
on my computer here.
It's in a beta, so it's not like full-fledged.
MapHub.net.
Net. Yeah, maphub.net.
Okay.
So what it does is it's similar to like Google Maps.
Yep.
And you can just click explore or new map or whatever you want to do. So we're going to click new map. It's in the upper right hand corner. And if you already have, you have to create your little sign in, which is simple enough. It's not a Google sign in, but create your sign in.
Okay.
And then you get a map. And what's crazy, I mean, I guess I always figure that like my computer pings me like where I am, but it shows me like you're in the middle of Wisconsin. Great. Right. I'm in the map in the middle of Wisconsin. And then you can
It's true. That's where we are.
You can create a map. So you can type in your title, your description, decide your visibility if you want private or public.
Yep.
And then on the left-hand side, you've got little arrows and little pins, so you can drop your pins in. And then you can connect. So you have like a start line, and you add points by clicking, and then you finish, and then it will set everything, like it'll connect them all together for you. All of them have a description. So if you click on the left-hand side and you want it to do something, the right-hand side will explain the directions to you.
Yep. Look at that. And I made mine look like a pirate map, by the way.
Okay. I wanted to get to that.
Sorry.
You totally just bursted my bubble. So I'm showing you the tools first before you get to the cool maps. I'm just looking at
the fun stuff.
So you can also like type in your label. So you can label everything, and then you can drop pictures in, which is cool. So you can put little JPEG pictures in.
You can also do polygon areas. So if your students are making regions of a state or a country or the world, you can use the little puzzle piece, and it lets you make polygons, and then they can label them and say, here is southeastern Wisconsin, or here is the
like county lines and stuff.
Well,
I mean, county lines would already be there.
Yeah, county lines might have been there, but you can just make whatever you want. So if you're saying this area of the United States has, more cows per capita than any other area, then they could do that.
Nice. So now you click on base map. So back on the right hand side.
Pirate map.
I'm so sad. That was like the one thing I was super excited to tell everybody. So you have options for what your map looks like. So in Google, you have your options of like regular view, satellite, topography, street view, drop your little man in, that kind of thing. But here you can pick classic, you can pick street view, and then you can click outdoors, and then you can click light and dark. And then as you bursted my bubble, by the way, the dark one is pretty sweet looking. And then
that is cool.
You have
like flying during night.
A pirate map.
What? There's a pirate map? That's cool. I didn't know that.
But how cool is that if kids are doing a mapping project and you just need a little like, hey, we're going to be explorers, drop some pins in. They could make their own little pirate map of the adventure, which could end up being like a research project. Like then they research this part of the world or something. You could, anybody, it's a pirate map. You can make it into anything and be super cool.
Yeah.
But then there's other options as you scroll down further, where you can click outdoors, and then they have like open cycle map and landscape. Anyway, and so they have lots and lots of options for what your maps are going to look like. It's not just your usually like 4 to 5 choices.
Sure.
But the best part is that you can have a pirate map because it looks cool.
Yeah, sorry I burst your bubble there. Now I feel
totally
bad.
Did. But like I have a student right now, she's researching for her Wisconsin history project. She's researching Death's Door in Door County, where all the shipwrecks are. And how cool would it be if she was marking everything on a pirate map for her project? Where all like the sunken ships
Somebody
are.
should do a research project on why Wisconsin should annex the Upper Peninsula.
Okay, well, it's history, so so there's that. But anyway, so MapHub, it's kind of fun. It's a little off the beaten track. Like, it's not your usual, like, Google Maps. Everyone uses Google Maps all the time. But you can make a pirate map, and you can mark all these things. Anyway, you click save. That's one thing the kids do have to do. They have to click save. And then they're able to share them and do whatever they need to do with them, which is kind of cool. So, MapHub. That's my other thought.
Cool. Yeah, Death's Door, by the way, will look really cool in Pirate Map.
Yeah, I thought it would. So that's kind of my little, like...
Yeah, I'm glad that I discovered that.
Uh-huh. You're so snazzy.
By the way, speaking of maps...
Yes.
I know more and more people are using it, so maybe it's not as nifty as it was when I first discovered it, but if you're not using Waze, W-A-Z-E, for instead of... it's owned by Google, but it's a map program, but it's crowdsourced, and it's crowdsourced by like using the data when you have the app open.
Okay.
So it can tell how fast Waze users are at any given area. So it can tell if like things are slowing down because all the people with Waze going in their phone are going slower. It also allows you to mark if there's a car on the side of the road or an accident or a speed trap or, an animal in the road or something like that. You can mark that, and then other drivers see that when you come through. So,
and then you mark it off as you go through if it's already gone.
If it's gone, then you check it off. And it's built into a lot of, like, if you have a car with like Apple CarPlay or Android Auto built in, when you plug in your phone or when it connects, it'll come up, and if you have that app installed, you can use it. And so it's really easy to tap, when there's a thing like an obstacle or something that you want to report.
You're not spending time digging around on your phone while you're driving.
Right, and there's also voice commands, so you can do it that way too. But it's pretty cool. Also, while we're on that, I got the new Alexa Auto.
Questionable.
I'm not very happy with it. I like Alexa stuff, but the Alexa Auto is clunky because you have to have the Alexa app open on your phone, and then there's a uncomfortable delay, And
if you say things, sometimes she starts like thinking you're talking to her, but you're not. You're just having a conversation.
It's just not as good as the normal Alexa.
Or the small child is
experience.
Screaming at Alexa from the back seat to play her song and can't get her.
It usually works for you though. But
I don't know.
If I just have the app open on my phone and I talk to it that way, it works better than if I use the Alexa device.
And it's not free, so it's not really that important.
No, I was just kind of giving. if some of you are
contemplating that while you're listening to your podcast in the morning,
I would skip it.
Yes.
Just skip. Wait till the next version.
Yeah. There's one last site I wanted to throw out there.
Yeah.
Not really spending too much time, but historysimulation.com is a website that has it's got resources for teachers on it, and some of like the videos, there's YouTube videos that kind of go along that would support classroom work, which is awesome. You have to be aware though, like parts of it are paid, so you have to find like the free parts versus the paid parts. But there are some cool resources on the site if you dig around that you're able to find that's also helpful when it comes to teaching social studies.
Yeah, get it.
So you got like everyone has a task list now. Go to iCivics and go play Win the White House and then report out as to if you won or how long it took you to win. Because were you one of my students who could do it in 25 minutes? Or are you the kid that has played 15 times because you just don't have the right slogan and people aren't voting for you? I don't know.
I don't know either, but
I can't wait to hear reports.
Yeah, go play. Let's hear it.
Yeah, because I want to know what's happening. On that note, thanks for tuning in. This has been the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast, episode 35. If you ever have any questions, you can find me on Twitter at SmartInWI. And if you want to get more information on the links and the technology discussed in this episode, you can visit smartinwi.com, EdTech Directory, or you can visit me on Facebook. New episodes each week. Thanks for listening. Go educate and innovate.
The ideas and opinions expressed on this podcast and the Smart and WI website are those of the author, Shanna Martin, and not of her employer. Prior to using any of the technologies discussed on this podcast, please consult with your employer regulations. This podcast offers no guarantee that these tools will work for you as described, but we hope they do. And we will talk to you again next week on the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast. Have a good one. See you.